you guys, friends, where do you think humanity exists on the internet? I guess we'll start with a very general question.
Too general of a question.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think that there's a lack of like humanity and basic niceness
Yeah.
on the internet that exists in the real world? In my opinion, anyways.
Yeah.
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 I could say that.
Yeah.
Okay.
People are too quick to be mean, I think.
More so on the internet than in real life?
Yeah.
Why do we do that to each other?
I mean, it's a lot less confrontational in a way. Because if we were sitting here and I was just like, fuck you, I think you suck.
You're
Like-
a piece of shit. God hates you.
Yeah, that'd be that
like,
weird.
There's like suddenly a dialogue that's gonna happen.
Mhm.
But if I just tweet at you, fuck you, you suck,
Yeah.
I can just block you right after that. Or you could like
Sure.
tweet at me and be like, why? And I could just like, I don't know, it's so much easier to just throw it out there and then separate yourself from it, I feel like. Because, you know, it's not person to person, so it doesn't feel as personable.
Yeah.
So, like, it's just so much easier to, like, be a coward about it, I guess.
Yeah.
And so that somehow makes you feel, I guess, less cowardly to say it.
Because you think it's because we have the choice to like in real life, I guess you're kind of forced to have consequences for things.
Yeah, there's less consequences.
But on the internet, like with just the way that shit was just ended up being, like for the time being, the choice to entirely disassociate yourself and like your being from this statement that would have more power in real life, people choose that option more because it is an option to begin with.
Yeah.
Like I can't like call you a bitch and then like run away from that.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna be here and
Yeah.
I'm gonna face the consequences for that. I could theoretically, if I like didn't know you, I could like go to your Instagram, call you a bitch, and then
Log
ghost,
out.
never hear from me again. Like,
Yeah.
So.
And, like, I feel like it's just easier for people to get mad at someone for something on the internet because you don't, like... I guess it's harder to see, like, the true intentions behind things as well.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I feel like it's easier to just misdirect your feelings, on there.
No. Okay.
I think it's also that, like, you can't actually see the other person.
Yeah, that's
You're
kinda
just
what
looking
I
at a
mean.
screen, it's just words on a screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I mean, like, the intention can get lost.
Yeah.
Like, if you were like, that's a bad bitch. Like, I don't know, maybe I could be like, why you call me a bitch? But, like,
Yeah.
you know, if I saw you in person, I could see you being like, that's a bad bitch.
Yeah.
But, like, this is kind of a bad example. But, you know, I could just see those words and then be like, fuck you, fucking asshole.
Yeah. Because, like anytime we fight and it's not in person, it's way worse than it
Yeah,
actually is when we
totally.
meet up and we're like, oh,
So much harder to
so
retone.
it's like, oh, so you didn't mean this, or you didn't imply this when you said this other thing,
Yeah.
but I thought you did, because, like, I think, because, like, bringing my thoughts into this now as, like, not a moderator is that I think, like, people get too caught up in what they think in the real world. Like, I think that there's a connection in between this connectivity that we have with the world now and, like, anxiety being so prevalent for people in our age group. Like, in a 10-year, 5-year window. Like, there's a weird amount of anxiety in between, like, a 22-year-old that was born in 98 and a fucking 42-year-old that was born in, like, 80-something, right? Like, because in the 80s, your reality was just your reality. Like, it was largely first person, and anytime you got another, like, version of reality, it was probably either somebody that you knew or just, like, a random encounter on, like, the street or something. But now, like, we're faced with so many different realities, but you don't live them, like, you're just living yours. So, like, people forget kind of in real life to be people.
Mm-hmm.
But the difference is, like, I guess today, like, people fuck you up if you're not a nice person.
Yeah.
Like, Nazis get knocked out every day. It
Yeah.
seems like people in like Trump hats get like knocked out every day. And I'm not saying that that's okay, but that happens, so there's a reaction versus me making a random Twitter account that has 4 followers with just like MAGA as the PFP, and then I just go around saying like, oh, like, fuck black people, Pence wants to like shock the gays, I'm fucking with it, blah 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 blah, and not face anything for that.
Yeah.
Because there's an even greater disconnect on the internet because people normally aren't in tune with reality already.
And you're not gonna face immediate real world consequences.
Yeah.
And especially because you can, not to cut you off, I'm sorry.
No.
But like, especially because you have the option to be anonymous or to just front as someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a total disconnect between like your online persona and then your real life person.
Right.
And so, like, it makes it feel like you can get away with more.
Yeah.
And then the more you can get away with, it's like you start to become greedy with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what else can I say? What else can I do to, like, piss people off?
Yeah, you push
And
it.
It's almost, it's almost like people are, like, kind of, like, getting the high off of it.
Yeah. That's true. And we were just watching the fucking Social Dilemma too, and it was talking about, like, how you actually, like, get high from it, more or less.
Yeah.
Because you just have this preconceived, like, desire to socialize with people. So, like, a lot of it really does, like, and it's a boomer-ass thing to say if you kind of think about it, like, think about who says it, but a lot of it really is just attention.
Yeah,
like, people just want attention.
Yeah.
But,
like,
that's
the only reason, like...
But, like, I wonder if that attention-seeking mentality manifests itself negatively because they're not getting the attention that maybe they need in their perception of what reality really is, right? Because, like, even attention, what people feel to be attention is different.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't get paid attention too much as a kid, so now, like, any type of attention that I get from other people, to me is good. Like, if I annoy somebody, I'm like, at least you care.
Yeah.
Like, because that's kind of all I want. I never specified how I wanted people to care.
Yeah.
So, like, on the internet, like, it's a very similar thing where it's like, I'll say something, and, like, if somebody, like, disagrees with it, I'm just like, alright, whatever. Like, when Eminem and MGK were beefing, I was like, fucking, MGK won that beef.
Mm-hmm.
And then this random-ass white dude was like, no, he didn't. Eminem won. Da-da-da-da-da. Eminem, suck Eminem's dick.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, yo, hold up. Like, why are you saying it this way?
Yeah.
Like, all I said was, yo, low-key, like, MGK won that shit.
Yeah.
And then he was like, you can't say that shit. Marshall would never lose to the likes of MGK. Like, it was a weird anime moment. And I was like, fam, like, why are you here with all this hostility? Like, just fucking relax. Like, it's a tweet. Like, it's not a big deal. And then, he replied and he was mad calm. He was like, oh, yeah, like, sorry, like, blah, 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 blah. And I was just like, but why in that snap reaction did you get so fucking, like, why did a trigger in your brain go off to, like, go defend Eminem?
I feel like
there has to be a reason.
Specifically, though, is a little bit more, like, less attention-seeking. Because, like, I feel like attention-seeking, I guess, is more, like, trolling.
Yeah.
Like, for no reason, just, like, going onto someone's
like 6ix9ine
picture and just being like, ha, 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 ugly, you know?
Yeah.
And then, like, but, like, I feel like that is kind of more geared towards, like, just the, like, idolization of celebrities.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, they get so heated about it because it's like you're fucking putting down the person that they idolize, and it's like you're putting down like their god or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like that Eminem was like his god, you know, and then you just like crush his whole world because like he idolizes him so much, and so he's gonna be like blah 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 blah, like fuck you. And I feel like that's like another thing that just like happens a lot on social media.
Yeah,
and I feel like yeah, just kind of what you were like talking about earlier, like dehumanizes celebrities.
Yeah, because I think that like, and this isn't like a new thing or anything, but like a lot of people who celebrity worship like that in many ways like aren't really connected with reality, like because the people that they idolize are just people.
Yeah.
If you really think about it, you know, like Kanye just sees himself as Kanye. Drake just kind of sees himself as Aubrey.
Yeah.
Like we see him as Drake, but he's like, yeah, like I'm Aubrey Graham, and I was on Degrassi and I make music.
Yeah.
But so I was like, oh my god, it's fucking Drake. Let's take care, Drake. It's this Drake. It's this Drake. Like we do all these things to like just blow this person out of proportion, and then they do things wrong, and then people freak out, right?
Yeah.
And like that's a whole other like cancel culture conversation, but by and by, it's because these people aren't connected with reality. But then the weird twist on everything that we're talking about is like the rise of podcasts and the rise of longer formed, less edited content in general, like that makes people stars, because like you can't fake who you are for 6 hours. Like that's really exhausting to do.
Yeah.
So all of these like streamers and podcasters like are just people who are getting famous genuinely being themselves, and it's a big fucking money thing because people want to watch reality. Because, or maybe because they feel so disconnected with like the virtual space reality or actual quote unquote actual reality. Like, and you know that gets into like escapism and shit like that, but it seems like, at least the more I've thought about it, the more I've realized that people just don't know how to connect with reality anymore. And Corona has kind of blown that up. I feel like a lot more people are kind of living around podcasts or around streams, if that makes sense. Like, I put on streams sometimes, like on the TV, just so it could feel like there's somebody else in the room, because the streamer is just doing, like, they're playing a game, or they're singing music, or they're drawing, or they're doing whatever. But it's just a person and a mic and a camera that's pointed in a way, and like pretty easy to get video capture shit. And so, like, you have these people that really can't fake being themselves, and so they have somewhat of an on-screen persona just because of psychology, but by and large, these are just regular-ass motherfuckers. But then they get elevated to this status, but it's a different kind of fame because they're so real. Like, a ninja or a Tim the Tatman will never be a Tom Cruise. Because Tom Cruise was famous in an age where you didn't want to know more shit about people. Like, now it's the more personal you get, the better, right? Like, and I've seen that a lot when my algorithm started to mingle with your algorithm. Like, a lot of because like I pay attention to what gets views a lot, just out of curiosity, because like I want to try to figure out why people are watching things. Like, a lot of best dressed, highest viewed videos are her talking about really personal things. Like, that's super random, and she's just like, I don't know why I'm talking about this. I'm just talking about it. 5 million views. Like my embarrassing sex stories, 10 million views. Like, granted, that's different because it's like girl and sex, and algorithm just like throws that together and it's like perfect. But like, it's just people talking about weird shit. Like, Joe Rogan, for all intents and purposes, I know that I've like talked about this a lot today, is just a regular ass man. Like, Joe Rogan theoretically isn't that special. Like, he's a buff ass white dude that lives in the wild and talks about meat and drugs and sports.
But have you ever done DMT?
And like martial arts, and he's a comedian, and they talk about male dude bro comedian things. But then he has other people on, and then he's not that. He's like this person that is uneducated, and then in another episode he's this other person who may know a lot about something, and then the guest is like, what the fuck is this? Like if a guest comes on Joe Rogan's show and is like, I've heard you talk about DMT, like, what the fuck is DMT? Joe Rogan is going to go on a 3 million view 10-minute rant about DMT.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, like, out of everything to happen, that's going to be the most viewed thing unless some crazy shit happens.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's just part of Joe's personality. It's like, oh, like, you get that Joe Rogan to fucking, like, talk about DMT. It's kind of like people talking about me, and they're like, oh, like, if you, like, get that motherfucker started on tea or something, like, it's over.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I get you started on fashion, it's over.
Mm-hmm.
If I get Skitty started on fucking, like, Elton John, it's over. Like, these things that are pillars of human beings are now becoming marketing tools.
Yeah.
But the reason why they're such good marketing tools is because it's so authentic. You don't have to build anything.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to build a Britney Spears today. Britney Spears can just be Britney Spears and get her shit done. Like, Britney Spears doesn't get that privilege, sadly.
Yeah.
But, like, we had a Britney Spears to have a Billie Eilish.
Mm-hmm.
Like, who's just so herself.
Yeah.
Like, she just talks about anime and shit in all of her interviews. She's like, yeah, I hang out with my brother and I watch anime, 10 million views. Like,
mm-hmm.
Granted, she makes amazing music and is, like, an amazing singer. So, again, it's one of those kind of luck things where you're really good at this one thing. But, like, that's what makes people fall in love with people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Drake's always been a really honest person in his music, and people flock to it more than anything because they can relate or whatever. Because I think that the whole reason why I'm saying this is that this whole rant about podcasts and streams and new fame being more interconnected, people are going to realize that people aren't that different from each other.
Yeah.
Like, and then I think, like, 10 years from now, when the podcast market is different, the social landscape of this country is going to be very different. Because you're going to have a lot of media being consumed by a lot of people, and the hosts of those media things are going to be a bunch of different people. Like, it's going to be a Joe Rogan, it's going to be a Joe Rogan, it's going to be a Joe Rogan, a Joe Budden, a Joey Diaz,
All the Joes.
some black girl from Brooklyn, some fucking Chinese girl from California, some fucking Arab dude from, like, Minnesota. Like, it's going to be random-ass motherfuckers.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be, like, Tom Cruise's, Britney Spears's, like, fucking, like, Rihanna's. Like, we're going to build you into this thing. The new big famous person is going to be the person that just acts like them.
Yeah.
Like, even, like, ASM artists, for example, like, their whole career is more or less whispering and tapping on things. And granted, like there's the content creation things that you have to deal with, and there's, like, the cons that you have to deal with every job.
Mm-hmm.
But it went from like, okay, we're gonna book you a fucking, like, studio session, and then we're gonna get you into the makeup person, and then we're gonna figure out what your alternate identity is gonna be. We're gonna give you a new name. We're gonna give you a new this, a new that, a new whatever. Now you have, like, fame that is to a point where Sean Evans doesn't ask you dumbass questions. He asks you about shit that happened in your high school. And then they're like, how the fuck do you know that? And it's like, he knows that because that's what people want to know. Like, what was Michael B. Jordan like in high school? Like,
mm-hmm.
like, what were you doing? Oh, you were a part of this club, whatever. It's these random ass things that theoretically don't make sense. Like, if you pitch someone like, to preface, I guess, just real quick, and I promise I'm done talking to you guys. All of that is said under the assumption that the most optimistic solution of the problem is the one that happens. Like, because I just have a lot of hope for humanity because I'm a fucking weirdo.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, do you think that from this point in time, like, Corona, all this other, like, social shit happening, all these business things happening on top of it, all these areas of our reality that are ripe for change, do you think that things get better, or do you think that shit gets worse?
In terms of social media?
Yeah, like, do people get less connected because of social media? is it somewhere in the middle where like things get better sometimes and worse other times? Is there an overall net positive or net negative?
I mean, I could totally see it happening with everything that you've been saying, especially how we're all becoming more
Like we're becoming closer
accustomed-
together.
Yeah, accustomed to like wanting to see the genuine person rather than just like the Instagram I'm happy every single day of my life type person. Or like I guess everyone on the internet is starting to realize how I guess like toxic that can be, and they're wanting to see more real life people. And so I can see that happening where there's kind of a shift where things do start to get better.
Yeah.
And like people start to be nicer, but like, you know, there's always going to be mean people. I don't know. It's hard to say, but
Yeah.
I can see it. I wouldn't say I do believe that, but like if it happened, I would not be surprised.
Yeah. Okay. Because like a lot of the reason why like social media's effect on society is the way it is just because these are the first iterations of those apps.
Yeah.
And like if you change the app, theoretically you've changed how the user reacts to it.
Yeah,
And then the user reaction change could change the human reaction.
I just don't see
at a greater level.
why the app would change, because so far the way that they run is making them a fuck ton of money, making the businesses who are running the ads, you know, through the algorithms and whatnot.
Yeah.
That's bringing in all the money. So I don't see, because this is just more of a cynical view on it. Like they're gonna put making money over like the mental health of its users. So they're not gonna make a change. They're just gonna keep doing that thing. I think maybe it was Cassie or you mentioned earlier that maybe if someone just made a whole different app.
Yeah.
That was like, this is like, you know,
different.
if you want to come hang out here, it's like these apps, but it's, you know, changed in a way that it's not going to affect you like those other apps do, like Instagram and Twitter, like there's no mean comments here.
Right.
Or like, you know,
or like there's no comments at all.
There's constructive comments.
Yeah.
But there's not like just troll comments or anything like that.
Right.
And there's no like system, and there's not like crazy specific ads geared toward who you
just
are.
Something else.
Yeah, it's just I feel like the apps we have now are not going to change. And if we want to like move past where we are, we would need to just change social media as it is.
Yeah.
And like create something new from it.
Yeah. I think that one of the pretty easy ways is legislation, because like as it stands, like the governments of the world really, aside from like China, aren't that advanced yet.
Yeah.
Like America doesn't know how to properly legislate a Facebook, an Instagram, a Twitter, but they arguably should be, because like if the legislations were positive, right? If they were like, you guys can't make money this way because there's too much effect on the American citizen or on a person in general, and whatever, they go like suicide rates, mental health things, change your apps, make them better, otherwise you're fucking canned. Cause the government can like fuck assist, like they can fuck a business up if they want to.
Yeah.
Like that's the one benefit about America being a business, is that the government part of the business can fuck up a business.
Yeah.
Like if the government wanted to, they could fuck Wells Fargo up like for good forever.
Yeah.
If they wanted to, they're not going to. But if they were like, hey, like Instagram, you can't measure engagement by this or that or whatever because it's affecting these people in XYZ and we have overwhelming evidence.
Yeah.
Instagram would be forced to change that, or a new competitor would come out that go, hey, we don't have a comment section. We don't have a like button. We don't have this or that, or we have some AI that scans for words put together in a certain way that could be insulting. Like, technology can save us just as much as it can doom us.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think the issue is which one. I don't know. I think it's a pretty even fight, personally. I think it just doesn't seem even now, because we're only in the first wave of it.
Mm-hmm. Pretty
So,
even fight in terms of what you lost me at the end.
in terms of like either like the tech companies essentially go unregulated by anybody,
Okay.
by any force on earth, and shit just gets worse, like you're saying, or the government is like, hey, we need to legislate this shit somehow,
Okay.
like,
Yeah.
because y'all aren't paying taxes or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
whatever play it is, the government needs to make a play against the tech companies, because right now the tech companies run everything.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, there just needs to be a lot of changes overall throughout, like,
everything.
our entire government system.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so, I feel like if we don't, we're like at a point. I feel like we're demanding so much change,
Mm-hmm.
and we should be getting it, and
Mhm.
we're not. And we're either going to, finally like topple over, and we're going to get the change that we need in the areas that we want it,
Mm-hmm.
and that will include that, or nothing will change,
Mm-hmm.
and it will stay stagnant like that.
Yeah. So
So I feel like if the government were to do that, I don't know. I just feel like it would have to change in all the other ways where it's
I see. Yeah.
problematic.
Yeah. That change is part of a bigger change, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely
Part of a bigger
agree
plan.
with that. Especially if my argument is that social media is in many weird ways a bizarre reflection of the actual reality that exists.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if the system is to be turned on its head, like, it would be kind of like a sand in an hourglass thing, where like everything would slowly go through this filter
Yeah.
and come out on the other side in a way.
Mm-hmm.
I guess on a less grandiose perspective, and getting like on the more personal side of the argument now, do you remember who you saw in the mirror before you joined social media? Like, do you remember who that Avery was? Do you remember who that Skidmore was? Like, before, like, who did you see when you looked in the mirror before you were on social media? Like, do you remember who that person was? Like, do you remember what you saw when you looked at yourself?
Just a girl.
Just a girl?
I just little kid. I was in
Yeah, we were
like
pretty
seventh
young.
grade when I
Yeah.
started on Instagram, so I was
Okay, so you were in 7th grade. You were...
I don't know, probably 6th grade when I joined Facebook.
Okay. Do you think you could pinpoint an estimated point in time when social media started to affect who you saw in the mirror? Or how long after? Because I feel like low-key social media has kind of fucked everybody's sense of self a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
In like a negative way as it stands.
Yeah.
Like,
I definitely remember, like, because I was growing up in a super conservative family and everything, and like I had like all the friends of the church and everything on my Facebook, and so I was like, oh, I better not say this or else I'll upset the person who lives in Idaho who I only ever see twice a year.
Right.
But I mean, since I've grown, I'm just like, fuck it, I don't like them, and just take them off and say whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah. There's tools to help with that problem in many ways. Block buttons and shit like that.
I guess just like growing up and you like get used to using Facebook, at least for me, I would start posting selfies because like all the other kids were doing it, and then you would see like, I guess like the like difference, and then it's not even like you're searching for it, but you just kind of pick it up and you're like, oh, like why do they get so many more likes than me?
Yeah.
Is it because they're skinnier? Is it because they have bigger boobs? Is it because she has prettier hair? Just shit like that. And then, like, it kind of amplifies from Facebook, moving on to Instagram. And then it keeps amplifying with technology getting easier to use and girls figuring out how to use Photoshop and, like, altering what they look like. And then, like, I'm guilty of this, too. Like, altering what I look like in a photo and then posting it. And then you get more likes than you would on your unfiltered photos, and then you start to be like, oh, so if I changed myself, I would look better. And then that's kind of the moment where you start to look in the mirror, and then you'd be like, okay, if my nose was smaller, if my waist was smaller, if, like, my hair was longer, if I had bigger lips, you know, if I had less fat on my body, you know, I would get more likes, I would get more followers, and then maybe, you know, I'd have, like, the perfect life like the influencers who have a bunch of followers have, you know? And, like, a lot of people want to be an influencer, or at least, you know, when I was in high school, like, that's, like, the goal, because you see them get hella followers, hella support, and they get, like, free shit, they're getting the bag. And you're like, that's what I want. I want to be pretty enough to where I can post a selfie and get mad followers and get money for that. And, like, get sponsorships just because I'm pretty and people want to be pretty like me. Like, that's, like, during that time, that was, like, the ultimate goal. And it's weird how that will really affect how you see yourself.
So you can't pinpoint a time when there was a shift, but you know that there was a shift.
It was gradual.
Like, but it definitely happened.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
And I think just having it be during such a sensitive time as well, like being in middle school, like everyone hates themselves in middle school.
Yeah, no, that's super true.
And so
I
like
hated myself in middle school.
And so I feel like this, like, having social media and, like, having it be on the rise during that time too, just amplified it. Because we didn't. It just like pointed out our insecurities more.
Especially because there weren't really any rules yet.
Yeah.
Like, there weren't any social
Yeah.
do's and don'ts that were, like, super obvious.
And I feel like it was even, like, at the beginning of Twitter, it was so much more chaotic than it is now.
Super, yeah.
Because it was, like, a new tool that we could use, and it was, like, our first taste of that social media, non-confrontational shit that you could just be like, fuck Sebastian, everyone's ignore Sebastian tomorrow. And, like, you could just do that for no reason, just because you wanted to, like, stir some shit up, just because you could. And it was, like, a platform that you could use to do that, and we were like, yo, that's cool. And, like, do you remember, like, Ask FM?
Oh my god.
That
dude.
The most
that shit was the worst.
Vile things would come through because it was you could be anonymous.
Yeah.
You could ask whatever the fuck you want. You didn't even have to ask questions. You could just be like, "You're a slut." Like, I would get messages of people just being like, "You're a slut," and I'd be like, "Okay." And it's like the audacity that people have.
Yeah.
I only had like 4 friends in middle school, and none of them used like Twitter or anything, so I was always just doing the daily questions, and that was it. No one ever sent me shit.
Yeah.
What was that after school app? Is that what it was called?
I barely went on that.
Where your school had like its own server, if
like
somebody made one, and then it was all just like anonymous, and people were like, oh, like Quinn is cute, or like Marley is like dumb attractive, or like Skidmore is whatever, Iggo's whatever, Avery's whatever.
Yeah.
That shit was really big at Ike for some reason, bro. That shit was
Never really took off my students, or at least I didn't really care about it that much.
Motherfuckers was roasting on there.
Oh, I hate it when you'd get the text. It's like, see what so-and-so's saying about you.
Oh my god, yeah. And I'd be like, who said shit?
And then you go on there and it's like nonsense.
Yeah, literally.
Like,
yeah, it was after school.
Fucking app.
Yeah.
It's awful. Fucking terrible place.
But, like, yeah, just during that time, especially because, like, even without social media during that time, that's when, like, a lot of kids are, like, testing boundaries with other people. So, So Twitter, especially, was just a gateway to just fucking poke people's buttons and test boundaries.
True. I think in many ways it might be still similar.
Yeah.
It was the first place I ever called someone a cunt.
Growth. That's fucking historic.
I had a lot of Twitter beef. Like, I think I had Twitter beef before I had, like, face-to-face beef.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just so much easier. Especially, like, I was non-confrontational.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I don't want to get up in your face and then have you just decide to be like, fuck you, bitch, pop, Like, I'm not trying to get punched. But, like, on Twitter, you're not going to get punched unless, like, it's, like, the next day. But, like, that's in the future, so you don't have to worry about it right now.
Yeah, that's future me's problem.
Yeah, exactly. And, like, so you could just wild out on there.
True. I think the first time, like, the first, like, day that I had Twitter, I helped Kim K pick her makeup. And it was all
Wait,
downhill
really?
from there, yeah. Because, well, okay, so, like, I didn't actually, but, like, so she tweeted, and she was like, so I made the account, and I was like, I just need to follow every famous person that I can think of, because that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
So I followed, like, every, like, celebrity's, like, thing that I could find. And Kim K was like, oh, should I do, like, this makeup or, like, this makeup? And it was, like, this weird bronzish gold and then this, like, greenish, bluish black. And I was like, definitely the fucking green.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, 5 minutes later, she was like, I did the green one. And I was like, that was fucking
Did
me,
she reply
dog.
to you?
No.
Oh.
No.
I thought you were saying, like,
no,
she replied to you. I was like, that's kind of cool.
No. But I like to take credit for that one day
Oh.
where she wore green makeup.
Mm-hmm.
So somewhere, I was responsible for Kim K having a really good makeup day. Just, like, flex. But, what was that healing process that you started to fix your self-worth from the damage that social media did? Because me and you have talked about that a little bit, like, in our relationship, especially like I've talked about my confidence dipping when I had my porn addiction too, or like when I was almost there. So, like, how did you even realize that social media was, like, really affecting your day-to-day mental that way?
Realizing that it affected other people. Like, I guess I don't think I really came to the conclusion on my own until, like, other people were like, social media kind of makes me feel bad about myself. And I'd be like, you know what? Me too.
Yeah, same.
Like, I don't think I like myself. And so, I don't know. It's still something that I'm healing from. And obviously, it's not all social media's fault. I just have my own issues as well that amplifies it. And so, I just remember, I think, my freshman year of college, I, like, deleted Instagram for, like, a week or something. And then, like, I felt myself starting to feel better about myself because I'm not constantly looking at amazing bodies with amazing abs. And, like, recently I started following more accounts that have bodies that look like mine. Because when I was in high school, I was like, I want to be a model. I'm going to be a model, like, easy.
And you were a model.
I mean, I was a model. Like, I wanted to be signed, I wanted to be, like, booked and busy.
Yeah.
But, obviously, that's not my body type. I didn't realize that as a high schooler, though. I was like, just, like, it's fine. Just eat less, bitch.
Yeah.
Work out more, eat less. Easy.
Right.
But,
Easy.
like, slippery slope. And I would follow a bunch of, like, skinny model girls and fitness girls on my Instagram as, like, inspiration. And that's all I would see scrolling. I would go on Instagram, and that's all I see. And then I'd feel bad about myself because I'm like, fuck, bitch, you should go work out. Like, you don't look like that yet. Like, how you going to model and you don't have abs?
Yeah.
The fuck? And then, like, obviously, I was like, I don't think this is healthy for me. I deleted Instagram and just slowly started unfollowing those girls. And just, recently I've been following more body types that look like mine. And honestly, it helps me feel a lot better. Because it makes me feel like I'm more normal. And, like, I'm not just, like, a fat anomaly. Like, everyone is skinny but me.
Right.
But it's like, oh, you know what? My body is normal.
Right.
And it's sexy, and I don't have to be model shaped.
Yeah, true.
So.
also like white people made those fucking like stereotypes anyways.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
whatever.
True.
But yeah, like changing your own reality. In
Yeah.
that instance of like
Yeah, you
like-
have to take control of it.
yeah, of like using your algorithms to your advantage, kind of,
Yeah.
and trying to
Yeah.
put new things in it and
Mhm.
whatever. And TikTok has a lot of that too. But we'll stop here and we'll pick up on that point because the like using using the algorithm to your advantage thing is that's kind of like advanced social media, like 102,
Mhm.
you know.
Mhm.
So we'll get back to that. But for those that are here still somehow, audio or video, thank you for watching. Fuck Donald Trump.
He might die.
He might die. YG was right. Be kind to each other. Black Lives Matter. Goodbye.